You know what's wild? Right now, there's someone making $60,000 a year who thinks they're doing pretty well. They've got a decent apartment, they go out on weekends, they buy things they want on Amazon without checking their bank account first. And technically, they're right above the median household income in America. They're literally average. But here's what they don't know. Being average in America costs about $1.2 million over a lifetime. And I'm not talking about missing out on being rich. I'm talking about actual money leaving their pocket that they'll never see again. My name is Ansh, and I spend way too much time thinking about why the average American is financially worse off than they should be. If you're someone who feels like you're doing everything right but still can't seem to get ahead, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up because what I'm about to show you is going to make you rethink everything about being normal with money. Here's the thing. When we talk about financial success, everyone wants to compare themselves to billionaires or trust fund kids, and then they feel better because, well, at least I'm not drowning in debt, right? But that's not the comparison that matters. The comparison that matters is between average you and optimized you. Same income, same life, different choices. And the gap between those two versions is absolutely massive. Let me show you what I mean. The average American has about $8,000 in credit card debt. Now, at the current average interest rate of around 21%, that's $1,680 a year just in interest. Not paying down the debt, just interest. That's $140 a month evaporating into thin air. But here's what most people don't realize. It's not just the interest you're losing, it's what that money could have done for you instead. If you invested that $140 a month in a basic index fund averaging 10% returns over 30 years, that's $316,000. So that one average financial decision, having credit card debt, doesn't cost you $8,000. It costs you $250,000 in future wealth. Now you might be thinking, okay, Ansh, but credit cards are just one thing. That's not representative of everything. And you're right. So let's keep going, because it gets so much worse. The average American buys a new car every 6 years and finances it for about $35,000 at around 7% interest over 5 years. The monthly payment, about $693. Now here's where it gets interesting. The average person could instead buy a 3-year-old certified used car for $22,000 that's basically the same car, just without the new car smell, same loan terms, and you're looking at $435 a month. That's a $258 difference. But the average person doesn't do this. Why? Because we've been conditioned to believe that new cars are somehow safer, more reliable, a better deal. It's complete nonsense, but it's what average people believe. Over those 6 years, buying new instead of used cost you about $15,000 more when you factor in higher payments, faster depreciation, and higher insurance. Do this 5 times in your life, and you're down $75,000. Invest that difference instead, and we're talking about another $200,000 over your working life. Now look, I know what you're thinking. You're adding up these numbers and going, this is just cherry-picking expensive mistakes. But that's exactly my point. Being average means making these mistakes because they're what everyone else does. They feel normal. They feel safe. And that's the trap. Let's talk about housing, because this is where being average gets really expensive. The average American spends 33% of their pre-tax income on housing. Financial experts recommend 28%. That doesn't sound like a huge difference, right? 5 percentage points? But on a $60,000 salary, that's $3,000 a year in extra housing costs, and if invested, nearly $200,000 in lost wealth. But here's the thing about housing that nobody wants to admit. The average person doesn't just spend too much on housing, they spend too much on the wrong housing at the wrong time. They rent longer than they should because they're afraid of commitment or don't think they can afford a down payment. Then they panic buy a house that's too expensive because they think they're falling behind. It's this weird financial whiplash that costs them on both ends. Here's a stat that genuinely makes me frustrated. The average American starts seriously saving for retirement at age 35, not 25, not 30, 35. And here's why that's devastating. Someone who invests $400 a month starting at 25 will have about $2.1 million by 65. Someone who starts at 35 with the same $400 a month will have about $900,000. Those 10 years cost them $1.2 million. And this isn't because they invested less total money. The 25-year-old invests $192,000 total. The 35-year-old invests $144,000. So for $48,000 less invested, the early starter ends up with $1.2 million more. That's the power of compound interest that the average person completely misses because they're busy being average in their 20s. Now, you might be thinking, but Ansh, I didn't know this stuff at 25. How is this my fault? It's not about fault. It's about understanding that being average is not neutral. It's not like you're just sitting in the middle, not losing, not winning. Being average is systematically expensive because average behavior is designed by companies, banks, and advertisers to extract maximum money from you while making you feel normal. Think about it. Credit card companies spend billions making sure that carrying a balance feels normal. Car companies spend billions making sure that buying new feels smart. Social media makes sure that spending money on experiences and things feels like self-care and living your best life. Being average means falling for all of it and thinking you're doing fine. Let me give you a different way to think about this. Imagine there are two versions of you living parallel lives. Same job, same salary, same starting point. Average you makes all the normal choices: credit card debt, new cars, spending 33% on housing, starts retirement savings at 35, pays for subscriptions they barely use, buys lunch out most days, and makes minimum payments on everything. Optimized you makes slightly different choices: pays off high-interest debt immediately, buys used cars, keeps housing at 28%, starts retirement savings at 25, cuts unused subscriptions, meal preps, and uses windfalls for savings instead of spending. The difference between those two versions isn't lifestyle. They both enjoy their lives. They both have fun. They both have nice things. But by age 65, average you has maybe $400,000 saved up, still has some debt, and is worried about retirement. Optimized you has $2.5 million, no debt, and complete financial freedom. Same person, different awareness. Here's what most people don't realize. The cost of being average in America isn't just financial, it's psychological. Average people spend their entire lives with this low-grade financial anxiety. They don't think about money all the time, but it's always there in the background. Can I afford this? Should I check my bank account? What if something breaks? That anxiety costs you sleep, health, relationships, opportunities. You make career choices based on fear instead of potential. You stay in jobs you hate because you can't afford to take a risk. You can't help your kids the way you want to. That's the real cost of being average. So what do you actually do about this? Because knowing you're financially average doesn't help if you don't know how to change it. Here's the thing. You can't optimize everything at once. You'll burn out and give up. But you can pick one thing to unaverage right now. If you have credit card debt, make that your war. Not your inconvenience, your war. Every extra dollar goes to killing that debt because nothing you do will give you a better return than eliminating 21% interest. Cut your lifestyle if you have to. Work extra if you can. That debt is a financial emergency, even if it feels normal. If you don't have credit card debt, congratulations, you're already above average. Now look at your car situation. If you're financing a new car or planning to, stop. I'm serious. Sell it if you have to, and buy used. The hit to your ego is temporary. The gain to your wealth is permanent. If your car situation is fine, optimize your big three: housing, transportation, and food. These are where average people bleed money without noticing. Could you get a roommate, move somewhere cheaper, actually meal prep instead of just thinking about it? every dollar you save here isn't deprivation, it's buying your future freedom. And no matter where you are, if you're not investing at least 15% of your income for retirement, you're still average. Start now, not next year, not when you get a raise, now. Even if it's $50 a month, the habit matters more than the amount at first. Here's the last thing I want you to understand. Being above average financially doesn't mean being rich. It doesn't mean driving a worse car or living in a worse place or never having fun. It means being intentional instead of default. Average people accept the financial reality handed to them. Above average people question it, optimize it, and build something different. You're not trying to become a minimalist or a penny pincher or someone who never enjoys their money. You're trying to become someone who's aware of the actual cost of their choices and decides if that cost